Hi YouTube, it's Amanda, and today I'm going to show you how to get easy salon manicure at home, do it yourself, and I'm going to show you how to make it last all week and how to do this really cute nail art. Also, you're going to get tips on doing your left hand or your non-dominant hand, whichever you have. So keep watching to find out how we did this, what we used for it, and how you can do it at home. Okay, so I've already used my file with my fine grain here to shape my nails to how I want them. But when you do that, you want to try and go all in the same direction. So you don't want to go back and forth. You just want to go like this, and that'll help to keep your nails from not splitting. So that's a good tip there. Then we're going to use our block, and when you have this block, it's going to have the 3 sides. And you're going to start off with side number 1, which is usually something like smooth or define, something like that. So we're going to use the first side, and we're just going to go through the block side by side, and this is going to help your nails to be really shiny, really smooth, and that's going to make your polish stay longer. It's going to make it stay almost all week, depending on what you do. It's going to really help your polish to stay long. It's also going to help your polish to go on very smooth and very easily, and it's also going to help your polish be more opaque because it has a really good even layer, really smooth layer to stick to. So let's get started. You're just going to take your hand. I like to take one nail at a time and just go along and buff it out. This is a buffer block, so just keep on moving along. You don't have to go too crazy, but you do want to make sure you get every single nail. Okay. And you're going to do both hands, and we'll be right back to do the next side. Then we're going to take side 2, which is the buff side. This is going to help your nails to start to shine a little bit. It's not going to be as shiny as with step 3, but with step 2, it's really going to help your nails to show a little shine, and they're going to start to get really smooth. So again, you just want to do this to all of your nails. Shine side, and this is really you can see my nails are already starting to get a little shiny. This is going to make them look like they have a clear coat of nail polish on. It's crazy. And this is the one that I like to spend the most time getting a really even shine, making sure I don't miss any of my nail, because look at that. Yes, this is what makes the polish stick, and this is why I never ever forget to buff and shine my nails. Okay, so hopefully you can see the difference. This side is uber shiny, and this side, it's shiny, but not uber shiny. Do the other hand, and I'll be right back. So I just want to mention that you can get these buffer blocks at pretty much any drugstore that sells nail polish. I got mine at CVS, I want to say around 2 years ago, and it's still going strong. I'm about due for a new one. The edges are starting to fray here, but it still gets the job done and does everything I need it to do. I want to say this was around $4.99, so it's a really good investment. It's really going to help you to not have to paint your nails as often. So I highly recommend you get one of these. They have 4-sided ones too. I find the 3-sided ones perfectly sufficient, but if you can only find the 4-sided one, just go for it. Now we're going to do our cuticles. Now, you're going to want to push back your cuticles. I do not recommend cutting your cuticles. I cannot say that enough. I find that when I cut my cuticles, it makes my nail more weak, more brittle. It also makes me tend to get scabs and scars really easily around my finger, and I don't like that. It can also let bacteria in, and it's just not good. So you may want to soak your fingers. I usually like to do this after I get out of the shower, so my skin's already really soft and my cuticles just push back really easily. But you're going to take one of these guys, and these come in like all nail kits pretty much. You don't necessarily need to use the pointed end. I usually use that to clean out underneath my nails like so. But then you're going to use the cuticle pusher part, and you're just going to use that and push up your cuticles. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. See, just pushing my cuticle up, making sure it's still really smooth on my nail. And there you go. This is going to help your cuticle to get out of the way. You can also do this on your toenails. I find a lot of people forget to do that when they give themselves a pedicure. That's something really important, so don't forget about that when you give yourself a pedicure. Okay, so that's basically it. That's the original way that I give myself a manicure. I think those are the more important steps of all the things that you could do. So those are the ones you don't really want to pass up. Now we're going to start to paint our nails, and you'll want to use a base coat. The one I like to use is by Sèche Vite, and it's their crystal clear base coat. I'm going to paint one coat of the Sèche Vite onto your nails, and you want to make sure to cover your whole nail very thoroughly with this. This is my favorite base coat, and why you want to use a base coat is so that your nails don't get stained from your nail polish. It also will help to make your nail polish last longer, and it's going to help your nail polish to be more opaque. So you're going to have to use less coats of it, therefore wasting less nail polish. So you just want to brush this on. It's not the end of the world if you get it over your nail bed a little. Try not to get it too much onto your cuticle just because it's not very healthy for your cuticles to have a ton of gunk built up on it. But I find that if I get this, on my skin around my nail or on my cuticle, it usually falls off on its own within the next, hour or so. So I'm not too worried about it. Your left hand, the best tip I have is to just slow down. Don't paint your nails if you're in a huge hurry. Okay, now I usually just like to let this sit for about 30 seconds before I put on my color. So my base coat has dried just a tiny bit. I'm going to put on my first layer of color. Now I'm going to use the Sally Hansen Complete Salon Manicure Polish. This is one of my all-time favorites, especially if you are not a super pro person at painting your nails, because this stuff is very opaque. It also gives you a really good, if you don't have a base coat or a top coat, they tell you that you don't need one because it's built in. I still think that you should use at least your base coat. It's very shiny when it dries, so you may be able to get away without a top coat. However, of course, it's always going to last longer with a base and top coat. But these are great. They're very opaque. I think they're very comparable to China Glaze and OPI colors, and they're about the same price. The color I'm going to be using is called Fruity Patootie, and it's a really pretty, fuchsia pink color. Hopefully it's coming off correct on my camera. But the other reason that I really, really love them is, first of all, they've got a great shaped handle, and this black part here is a rubber grip, so that always helps painting your nails. They also have this really cool brush. Hopefully you can see that. It's kind of rounded at the tip, and I think that that makes a really big difference when you're painting your nails. It helps a lot to get up into the cuticle and into the curved spots of your nails. It just makes things so much easier, so I really love these brushes. Another tip I have for giving yourself a pro manicure and taking care of your nail polishes is that when you wipe your polish off, try and wipe it only onto the inside of the bottle. Therefore, your polish goes back into the bottle, and it doesn't run down the sides and get all over the ribbed part where your top screws on. And that way you will avoid things like your polish. You know how sometimes the caps stick on and you have to heat them up under water to get it off and yada, yada, yada. It's so annoying. So if you wipe your brush off like this so the polish goes directly back into the bottle, that's another great tip. It's going to help your polishes to last longer, and it's going to just make your life easier in the long run. So let's get started. Okay, I'm going to start with my pinky here, and I'm just going to go up close to the cuticle, but I'm not actually going to touch my cuticle, and I'm going to try not to touch all the sides. I would rather leave a small gap than have to clean things up. And in the long run, you'll see that that does help you to paint your nails quicker. Hopefully you can see there's a tiny bit of a gap there by my cuticle. That's what I'm talking about. You don't want to touch your cuticle. And see, like on the side, I just got some there. Not a big deal. We'll wipe it up later. On to the left hand. Move your nail polish to the opposite side, okay? Make sure your hand is very steady on a table or whatever you're using. Same with your other hand. I'm going to zoom out just so you can see my setup a little. So my hand, one hand steady, one hand steady. Very important. Then, same thing. We're just going to get started. Go very slowly. Trying not to touch your cuticle. But again, remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't have enough polish on there. You don't want to get too much polish, but you don't want to get not enough. It's a very delicate balance, and that's just one of those things you have to kind of experiment and play with on your own. Hopefully you can see how opaque these polishes are, and you check them out because I really love this formula, this Sally Hansen Complete Salon Manicure. I have a lot in my collection, and if you haven't seen my nail polish collection, you may want to watch that because I have a bunch of really good colors, and a lot of the colors I own are these Sally Hansen Complete Salon Manicures. So if you want to see swatches of them before you purchase, you can definitely watch my collection video, and I will make a link to it down below. Somewhere. I'm guilty. I don't wait for the first coat to dry. I just go right back on. Once I'm done with my left hand, I go back to my right hand again. So the second coat's much easier. You don't have to be as precise. You're mainly just going to be getting the main portion of your nail, since you've already kind of gone through and outlined where you don't want it to be touching and where you do want it to be touching. So you're just cleaning up the middle, making it opaque and give it a little bit less streaks. Again, very simple. This shouldn't take as long as the first coat. Okay, now you're going to take a little bit of your nail polish remover and a Q-tip and clean up any of your edges that you had issues on. Like for me, that'd be right here where it kind of went onto my cuticle a little bit. So I'm just going to clean up a tiny bit. Anywhere that you've messed up, it's not a problem to clean up your nails. Like, I don't know why people are so ashamed of that. As long as you do it right, you do it well, everyone makes many mistakes. Not a big deal. Okay, so before I do my nail art, I'm going to go over every single one of my other nails with my Séché Vite Fast Dry Top Coat. That way, if I accidentally touch one of my other nails, it's not going to get messed up while I'm working on my nail art. So you're just going to use that, and unfortunately I'm almost out, so I kind of have to tip my bottle to get a bunch of my product there. But you're just going to put a layer of that on all of your other nails, covering it completely, and for that you will try and go over those edges and all the way down to the tip, but skip your accent nail or whichever nail you decide you want to put your nail arts on. Okay, now to make your flowers, you're going to need some nail daughters. I have a set here of 5 that I bought on eBay, and I'll try and find the seller and put a link in the down bar so you guys can check those out. If you don't have nail daughters, you do have some alternatives. You can take a bobby pin, like a hairpin, and open it up and use half of that. This works really well as a daughter. And then you'll also need a toothpick to create the flower. You'll see why you'll need the toothpick. So for me, I'm going to use my blue one. And I'm going to also take out one of my medium-sized ones. For that, I'm going to use this kind of orange one. And I'll just need something to work on. So I have this, it's an old mirror, and I just turn it over and use that. And then you'll need a white polish. I'm just going to use OPI, I believe this is, yeah, Alpine Snow by OPI. And what you'll want to do is just open it up and put a dot of it on your board here. Hopefully you can see that. And then we're going to take our dotting tool and we're just going to dip here into the white and down by the back corner, hopefully you'll see, I'm going to make 5 dots in a circle. Okay, now you're going to take your pointy thing, you can use your toothpick or this, and you're going to go in the center of each of those and just pull it towards the middle, making a flower. Now this step is optional, but I like to do it, and that is taking the opposite side of my blue dotter, dipping it in. This is a smaller dotter, and we're just going to do a little swirl of dots that come out to the end, like that. Now we're going to do this on our other hand, and then we'll come back and we'll put our rhinestone in the middle, okay? Okay, doesn't have to be perfect, that looks good. Taking my pointed end and I'm going to pull those in. Like so. Then taking my smaller dotter and there we go. Perfect. Let me zoom in a tiny bit. Can you see that it got a little smeared on the tip there? My trick for fixing that is to take your base color, whatever is already on your nails, put a little bit of that on your palette, take a clean dotting tool, one you have not been using, dip it in there, and very, very carefully go over the parts that are supposed to be that color. Like so. There we go, all better. Last thing you're going to want to do is put on your rhinestones. Now I have a couple of rhinestones from a little nail art set that I'm going to be using here. So I'm going to just flip those puppies over like so. Okay, and we're going to put those in the center of each of these flowers. So what you're going to want to do is take some of your top coat, put a teeny bit of that out on your workspace here. You probably won't even be able to see mine. Rub your dotter in that. Now put that all over the center here. Okay, now pick up the rhinestone, clean off your daughter. Your daughter. Pick up your rhinestone and put it right in the center there. Like so, okay? You can move it to where you need it. I like to let that sit while I do the other one. Same thing. I rubbed it all in my clear coat. Put down some clear coat onto my nail. Right in the center there. Now I'm going to pick up my rhinestone and place that where I want it. Okay, that looks pretty good. Maybe over just a smidge. Perfect. Now press down. Just going to let that sit for a second, and then I'm going to put my top coat on those last 2 nails, and I'll be all done. Apply your top coat now, and you're just going to put a generous helping of that. You don't need to wait for it to dry if you're using Sèche Vite. If you're using another one, you're going to have to play with that and find out. Sèche Vite does a really good job not smearing your nail art. You're just going to want to go over even the rhinestone. You want to put a nice thick coat on so that it really kind of seals that rhinestone right in there. Looks great. Alright guys, that's it. You saw how simple it was. I bet you all can try this at home. Let me know if you do. If you have any other requests for videos, this was certainly one of them. If you have more requests, or you have you want me to do more nail videos or anything like that, just let me know in the comments below. I love hearing your feedback, and I had a lot of fun doing this video. Also, if you have any tips on how I can improve this style video, let me know. I want to do more nail type of tutorials in the future, and I like to perfect my technique. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!